Thank you for your company this morning. Well, as the war against the Islamic State in Syria has fallen even into more chaos, there is one girl fighting to expose what she calls the truth. Before we meet her, let's take a look at her in action. Maram Susli, aka Syrian Girl, has gained a reputation for her outspoken views on the Islamic State.
The fact is, it is the American and NATO governments and Israel that are funding these Al-Qaeda terrorists and Muslim Brotherhood extremists, and that is the point that everybody here is missing.
Not afraid to speak her mind, Maram's controversial videos have clocked up more than 2.5 million views on YouTube from US strikes.
What we really need is for the money flow and the training to stop. And what this Obama's mission now, it's just going to strengthen ISIS. And this could actually escalate as it did last year with some kind of a World War III scenario where Iran and Israel and Russia gets involved.
To Ebola.
Is Ebola a biological weapon? Well, the short answer is yes.
This is one Syrian girl not afraid to stand up for what she believes in. Well, Maram is certainly one controversial Syrian girl, and she joins us now live from Perth. Good morning, Maram. Thank you for joining us.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
Now, I believe you've said there's an elite and they're trying to manipulate people's minds. It's claimed that we're living in a free democracy, but we're really not. What do you mean by that?
Well, I think that there's problems with all democracies, especially when you look at the US democracy, which, you know, over the last 30 years, we've had a Bush and then a Clinton and then a Bush and then a Clinton in power. So I think that we need to recognize that, you know, we are not absolutely free and we need to keep fighting for more freedom. And the elite that I'm talking about is, of course, the elite of people that are rich and are sort of in power, basically.
Maram, you post a lot on YouTube and you're very popular with the sorts of things that you say. Why was it something that you wanted to set up, and why do you think that your voice or your particular opinion hasn't been heard in the past?
I think that it's not something I necessarily wanted. I never really wanted to become a public figure, but I thought that I had a duty to speak out against what was going on. And I just didn't think that at the beginning of the Arab Spring, everybody thought it was a pro-democracy uprising and it was going to be great. But in reality, I knew that the protesters, a lot of them had Muslim Brotherhood backgrounds and politics, which means that there was great potential for extremism. And there was a lot of Syrian people that were opposed to what was going on in Syria. And I found that that wasn't really being portrayed in the media. And that was basically where I started heading towards creating this channel.
Maram, it's Libby here speaking with you. I'm interested, at 27 years of age, where do you get your views from? Who helps formulate your ideology? Who helps you create a worldview?
Well, actually, I was very political since a young age. I was protesting against the Iraq War since I was a teenager, and I've formulated my worldview from basically reading the news every single day and having an open mind about what's going on and reading it from all sides.
Where do you get your information from? It's not just inside you. Who do you talk to? Test your views.
Honestly, a lot of, well, I talk to everybody from all sides, whether it be the opposition in Syria, whether it be Americans, whether it be pro-Syrians. I mean, I think that I provide more view to people from inside me than people give to me now. Since 10 years of doing this, I think I've gained a lot of that expertise. I don't think what I'm saying is necessarily information that you need to be on the ground for. It's not like details of events on the ground. What I provide is global geopolitical analysis of what's going on just around the whole globe, and all you need really from that is to read the news to get an idea of what's happening.
Maram, it's Gretel here. Nice to be speaking with you. Could you tell us, we've referred to ideology here and what it is that you're spreading. Can you summarise for us, what is your opinion of the Americans' involvement in the Middle East? What is your opinion of Islamic State, of where the funding's coming from? What do you think the future is? Because I'm just feeling a bit of a need to actually understand the scope of your ideology.
Absolutely. I think that I'm not the only one who's saying this, and it's become more and more clear over the years that the Islamic State is a brutal cult, and it unfortunately arose when the US pursued a foreign policy that destabilized states in the Middle East. ISIS is now on the rise in Libya as well as Syria and Iraq. 3 years ago, beheadings on Syrian streets would have never occurred. That would have been something completely out of the ordinary. And now we have it almost as a daily occurrence. And what has happened here is that the US has funded extremists in the hope of overthrowing the Syrian government. These extremist rebel groups have, even the ones that they are now calling moderates, led by Jamal Maroof, has since last week been working with Al-Qaeda, Jabhat al-Nusra faction, the one that's rather been forgotten about, now that it's been overshadowed by ISIS. But Jabhat al-Nusra, Al-Qaeda, has
can I just pull you up on... So it's Joe here. I just wonder, you're saying the US is funding ISIS?
Yeah.
How so?
How?
Actually, I don't specifically say that the US is funding ISIS, but the Vice President of the United States, Joe Biden, actually stated himself that their allies, Turkey and Dubai and Saudi Arabia and Qatar, are funding ISIS. Turkey has been allowing ISIS to flood through the borders of Syria, and they've been doing this for the last 2 years, not just ISIS, but all sorts of militia groups, including Jabhat al-Nusra, Al-Qaeda. And the US has sort of let this slide because they wanted to overthrow the Syrian government. Of course, this is it has a precedence in history because Al-Qaeda was created to oust the Soviet Union from Afghanistan in the 80s. So it's not too outlandish to see that they're basically using the same strategy. I mean, Clinton said on record that the people that we funded in the 80s are the people that we are fighting now. And that's exactly basically what's happened in Syria.
OK, thanks, Maram.
Maram, thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate it. Changing pace still to come this morning on Studio 10, international celebrity news with Ange Bishop.